Hey there. Today I have really good news. Tana is out of beta and now the fun begins for real. In this video, I'll show you how to build AI agents that have direct access to what you're working on in Tana, require zero context switching between apps to work with AI, and work exactly like you want them to work with zero coding required. The agent we're going to build in this video is going to help you become more productive. It's going to be your personal productivity coach right inside your workspace, looking at the work you're doing and giving you constructive feedback on how to focus better. But you can build agents for anything, and in this video you'll learn how. I'm Lucas, I'm a product manager and creator, and today we'll build something cool. So let's get started. First, let's invoke the mighty Andrew Huberman for the system that we're building here. If you follow his podcast, you'll know that neuroscience shows us that the brain works in roughly 90-minute long cycles. You know this about sleep cycles, but our waking brain works like this too. This means that it's worth structuring your work into minimum 90-minute long cycles of uninterrupted focus. Half a decade ago, I used to work for a company called Ultraworking that today sadly isn't around anymore, but that took this insight from the literature and came up with a framework for structuring your work to get into uninterrupted focus, staying there for long periods of time, and improve how you work over time. So in this video, we're building a similar system in Tana, and we'll power it up with an AI agent to act as your personal productivity coach. And by the way, the full template is linked below this video, so you can easily install it. The basic unit of time we're going to work with is 30-minute increments, similar to Pomodoros cycles, which you're probably familiar with. And 3 of these will make up one 90-minute brain cycle of focus. Let's create a supertag for this. I'll call this supertag nano cycle because it's the smallest unit we're working with. To create a supertag, just type hashtag and then the name, nano cycle in this case, and then type enter. Now this empty note here has the supertag nanocycle. It's sort of an instance of the concept of a nanocycle. For each nanocycle, we want to record some information from when to when it runs, our energy level as we started, the elan we have as we go into it, that is how excited we're about the work, and then whether we've accomplished our goal for this cycle. How do we do this? We indent below the node and add this information as fields. We simply type the larger than sign, and this will create a field, and we can name that field what we want. So let me create the 4 fields here. First, we'll take one of Tana's provided system fields, the date field, and then we're going to create an energy field, then one for elan, and one for whether we've accomplished our goal for the cycle. Each of these fields we can configure to behave in a specific way. Give us a fixed list of drop-down options, for example. Let's do this for the energy field. If I right-click the field and select the configure field option, it takes me to this menu. I'm going to set the field type from plain to options. And now I can add the drop-down options into this field here. Let's use battery emojis as indicators for our energy level. And with that done, let's configure the elan field the same way. So right-click, configure field, plain to options, and here we're going to use fire, and that's going to denote how hyped we are when we start working in this cycle. And the field for whether we've accomplished the goal of the cycle we'll configure with a check mark as an option and an X that denotes that we didn't get it done. Now we have these 4 fields here under this one node. But if I tag another node with nanocycle, it has nothing indented. And doing that manually, adding these fields every time that I use a nanocycle would be a lot of work. So what we'll do is add these fields to the supertag itself, to the template of the supertag, so that every time that you tag something, the fields are there. You can do this by right-clicking any field icon and select Add to Template. Now, if I tag a node, you see it appears here immediately as well, the energy field. So let's do this for all the fields. Add to template for elan, add to template for the accomplished cycle. And the other way to add content to a super tag that gets applied every time that you use the super tag is to right click the super tag and select configure tag, and then go here to the content template section. And you see here we have energy and elan and accomplished cycle goal, but we can add the date field here as well. And I'll move this up here. You can drag and drop these as you want. And you can also set default values. So energy, for example, let's do default 2 batteries, elan also 2. And here we'll leave that empty, and date is also going to stay empty. All right, now let me close this configuration and remove these unused nodes here. And now we have one great example of what an empty nanocycle looks like. Now, the magic of ultra working system back in the day came from asking yourself for each 30-minute block a few very simple questions to plan the cycle. What's the goal? How will I get started? And look at potential distractions and how I would counter them. So let's turn these into a template that we can use for each 30-minute block. We'll put a new node here and call this nano cycle templates. And under it, we indent the following: plan, and then what's the goal? How will I get started? And potential distractions and how I'll counter them. And then we're going to create a node for work, and then both plan and work we're going to turn into headings. Then after each cycle of work, you'd spend a minute or two reviewing. So what did I accomplish? What distracted me? How can I do better next time? So let's add these as well. Going to create here a node for review, indent. What did I accomplish? What distracted me? What can I do better next time? And let's turn review back into a heading as well. Now, as you can see, we put both of these templates, the plan and the review, outside the main super tag. So we did not go into here, into configure tag, the content template, and put them here. Why? Because we'll only copy them in when we actually need them. And we'll use something really cool Tana provides for this, which is commands. Now, let me clean up here a little bit and collapse both our empty example nanocycle and the cycle templates that we have here. Tana is an outliner, so we already covered that you can indent and unindent. Let me turn off this heading. And so I can collapse these and expand these as well. I can also focus in, and I'm going to collapse all of this so that we have a little bit more space, and I can show you Tana commands. In Tana, you can create commands by turning any empty node into a command node. So simply do Command K on macOS, Control K on Windows, and search for convert to command node. Let's name the first command we're going to use plan. And if we indent under this command, we can use one or multiple system commands that Tana provides, or even reuse commands we have defined elsewhere. Today, we're going to start really simple. We'll use the system command insert cloned copy of nodes. So we can search for this command to insert it. So insert clone copies of nodes, hit enter. And by clicking add configuration, we can set the parameters of this command. In this case, the nodes we want to insert. And here we're going to copy in references to our plan and work nodes. And we can simply expand this again and hit Command C, Command V, right? And you see here on the icon that creates like this dotted line around this, and that shows you that it is a reference. And if you are new to Tana, what happens here is that this node here, the plan, now lives in two places at once, right? So if I call this my plan, you see it changes up here, but it also changes down here. And that is a really powerful way of referencing and reusing things across your Tana workspace. So we have the plan here. Let me reference work here as well. The other way you can do this, by the way, is if I remove these references, you can at search for anything in your Tana workspace, right? So if I do at and then plan, it is going to find that note and also insert a reference. So if I do at work, that is also going to pull in this here. That's the nodes we want to insert. And now we're going to add this command to our super tag, right? The plan command. And to do that, we're going to open up the configuration of our super tag again, and we're going to select the AI and command section. And here in the compact menu, we're going to reference now the plan command node. So again, command C and command V, and now it is referenced here. As you can see here on the left, we now get a button next to our super tag. And let me expand this really quick. If I click this button, boom, the content of our plan and work nodes is copied into the tag node. And let's do this again and build 2 more commands for practice so you really understand what's going on. So let me collapse this here. After each cycle, we want to review in a minute or 2 so that we can learn what went well and how to improve. So we'll add the review template as a button as well. So again, Command K, search for convert to command node. We're going to call this review. Insert clone copies of notes. We're going to add the configuration. We're going to reference here the review note, and that is it. We now have a review command. We're going to put this here as a reference. Now, commands can do more than just clone things from one place to the next. So let's create a command that fills out the date field here automatically. And we'll call this command start. So again, command or control K, search for convert to command node. I'm going to call this start. And here we're going to search for the insert relative date command. And in the configuration of the command, we'll put the following. For the relative date string parameter, we're going to put now to plus 30m. So from now until 30 minutes in the future. And then we're going to add a new parameter here, the date time granularity. Here we're going to select minute. We want this precise to the minute. Then the target node parameter gets a reference to the date field of our super tag. So how do you get a reference to the field? I don't want to add the field itself, right? But instead, I want to add a reference to a field like we have here, or how we had this here, right? Like this dotted outline around the circle, but we want this for the date field. How do I get there? I go to the content template, I put my cursor into the name of the date field, Command C, Command V, and now you see here the field icon for the date also has this dotted outline. And if we add this command here now to the compact menu, let's put this between plan and review, I now get a button here. And if I hit this button today, 8:51 to 9:21, that is exactly 30 minutes from now, filled in at the click of a button. One last thing on commands. We can set conditions so that the buttons only appear when the conditions are met. And let me show you, because this is super neat and lets you build like really powerful workflows with multiple commands that are only available in certain circumstances. So let's make the plan and start command only show up when the date field is empty, and the review button only when the date field is filled out, right? That's going to serve as our indicator how far along with a particular nanocycle we are. To do that, we'll add a node filter parameter to our command. And so here under plan, let me close the configuration. I'm going to add a new node. And here we're going to search for a field. So I hit larger than, and then node filter is what I'm going to select. Then I'm going to look for the date field. And here I'm going to look for @not set. And this is sort of a search expression that Tana allows you to do. And we'll talk about searches in just a minute. But that means the plan command will only show up on supertags or nodes with a supertag where the date field is not set. And you see this here, the supertag does not show the plan button anymore, right? Let's do this the same for the start command. So again here, node filter and date field and @not set. And for review, we actually want to look for nodes where the date field is set, right? Like the reverse, the review button should only show up when the date field is set. And this is what we see here now, right? You see here for the nanocycle, the review button shows up because the date field is set. If I click this, we enter all that information. And if I delete that information here, if I make the date field empty, you see plan and start show up. And again, that then becomes the basic workflow. You have a nanocycle, you say, okay, energy, and here we keep it empty. And now I want to plan my 30 minutes. I'm going to write what's the goal, how will I get started, the potential distractions, and then I click start. And now I can do my work, and then I'm done. And then I click review and can do my review. Now that we have a fully set up supertag for running nanocycles, or Pomodoros, if you will, let's walk through a full example of using it. We are going to tag an empty node as a nanocycle and fill out how much energy and elan we have. I'm on fire, so 3 batteries, 3 fires, let's go. And then we're going to pick the plan button and we're going to fill out the questions. What's the goal? Record this chapter of the AI agent video. Also, neat trick, in Tana you can turn anything into a checkboxed task, if you will, by hitting Command and Enter. How will I get started? Click the record button. I've already done that. Nice. And potential distractions, how I'll counter them. This could be, for example, phone ringing from my dog. I don't know, right? Whatever your dog does might distract you. That's my experience. So plan, what's the goal? Now we get started working, right? And to start working, we're going to click the start button here. That now fills in automatically from when to when the cycle is running. We're going to do some work here. Now the work is through, and I'm going to click review. What did I accomplish? I actually got this done. So I can, for example, put a reference to this task down here. So I have it recorded. Nothing, dog was quiet. And what can I do better next time? Less silliness, more seriousness. Of course. All right, repeat this 3 times and you'll have gotten a lot of work done and you'll have learned something about how you work, right? Like every time you know what distracted you, if there was anything, what you can do better next time. You spent like a minute thinking about these things, and that's really awesome. But we can actually do more, right? In the current setup, if you write what you want to get done in the plan section and you check it off, you have to manually reference it in the accomplishments section, right? And with Tana, we can easily get rid of this busy work so that you can spend more time on the important things, like thinking about what you did, how it went, and these types of things. And to do that, we'll use Tana's live searches or live feeds feature. Let's build a live search that collects everything that we've marked as done during a nanocycle. To do that, we'll go to the nanocycle template here and put our cursor into the accomplishments section and then run Command and K or Control K if you're on Windows and search for convert to search node. And then we'll do two things. We'll go into the search operator drop down, scroll down and select grandparents descendants with refs. And after that, we're going to focus into a new line here. And then we're going to scroll down and select done. Now, this is a live search. Now, watch what happens if I delete this review section here and I run the review command again. What did I accomplish? And boom, the task that I entered up here is already referenced and shown here. That also works if I create a new task here, some other work, and the moment I click this, it will show up here, right? And that is fantastic. And the cool thing is that works, in this case, the way I've set it up, no matter where the task originally lives, right? So if, for example, I have here some section, some other thing, even more indented, and now I have here a super cool task, and I'm here in my nano work cycle, I'm doing some work, and I remember, hey, I had this thing, super cool task, and now you see this is referenced, and I click this, and it also shows up here, right? So no matter from where you're pulling in your tasks, anything with a checkbox, and you check it off anywhere here under plan or work, it's going to show up here in the what did I accomplish section. Live searches can do even more though. I have a full video coming out that goes into detail what you can do with them. And we'll see a bit more later in this video as well. Once the video on live searches is out, I'm going to link it up here, and we'll see a little bit more later on in this video as well. Now, at the very start of this video, I talked about grouping 3 30-minute cycles into one larger cycle that aligns with how human brains work. So far, we've covered how to set up these 30-minute cycles, how to create the super tag, the content template, the live searches, and the commands to run them. I'm not going to go through all of that again in detail for the larger 90-minute cycle. Instead of a step-by-step, I'll just show you the completed setup that takes all in all 120 minutes. To group the 3 nanocycles together, we have a super tag that I've called a microcycle, which also has a date field and commands for the plan phase, for the start phase, and for the review phase. The plan template looks a little bit different. We have a section to answer what you're trying to get done, but we also have a section on what the consequences are if you don't do it. This also aligns with neuroscience research about how negative visualization is more motivating than positive visualization. So make sure you don't skip this. Planning should take you about 10 minutes, and then you click the start button, you get the date field filled out, and once you're done with 3 30-minute nanocycles with 2 5-minute breaks between them to do their planning and reviewing, you click the review button, and this also has a bit more. Again, a live search to collect everything you got done, as well as questions on where you got bogged down, what went well, and any other takeaways. And that is a great setup. It quickly allows you to get into a proper flow state, have 30-minute blocks and then small check-ins to make sure you stay on track and spend some time reflecting on how to get better. But sometimes it can be useful to have someone to check your thinking and point out things you might have missed. Some people hire proper productivity coaches for this, but you don't need to do that anymore because we're going to build you a coach right into Tana, thanks to the magic that is AI. Let's go. I've cleaned up here a bit, and now we'll start with something you already know. A super tag we'll call cycle review session, and inside it, a live search that looks for anything tagged with microcycle in the last day. So I'm going to tag this here as cycle review session, and we're going to configure this tag, go to the content template. Let me make this a little bit bigger here. And here we're going to add a search node. We're going to look for anything tagged with microcycle. And we're going to go down here and look for created last n days. We're going to pick 1 here. So this is going to give us all the microcycles that happened in the last day. And so if I open this up, we have here that live search, and if we expand it, I have here 2 microcycles that I've created in the last day and now want to review. And let me quickly show you what's in these. So this microcycle here, we have the plan. It ran for 2 hours. What did I try to get done? Write the script for this video, for example. Then I have here these 3 nanocycles with a runtime, energy, and elan. What did I get done? What distracted me? Those sorts of things. And this first microcycle went really well. In the second microcycle here, I started to have a little bit less energy. I was drifting mentally, couldn't focus, and here, like, I did not accomplish my goal, low energy, low elan, and I wrote down some notes, what distracted me and what I could possibly do better. All right, so that is the background. Now we're going to get into the agent. So we're going to take an empty node, and I'm going to call this agent cycle coach, and then I'm going to hit Command K and convert to agent. And what you get is this cute little robot icon on the left and a bunch of fields that lets me configure this agent. Here we have a system prompt, the way it greets you in the chat, and even an initial prompt that runs when you start the chat without any interaction, plus a couple of more things. Node filter, you're familiar with. Temperature is like how creative the AI is. Any commands you want to run on the output of the agent, and then the AI model. And here you can pick between a bunch. You have GPT-4o is the default. You can pick Claude, and that is going to expand over time, obviously. Now, one thing to note here, this is super early, right? These agents in Tana can't yet act autonomously. They can't do full retrieval augmented generation over your whole graph, a bunch of other things. And Tana literally told me to say this explicitly to kind of temper expectations a little. But honestly, I don't think that is necessary because what you can do with them is so freaking cool. Already, right? And you're going to see just how awesome this is. What we want to do here is create an agent that helps you talk through your productivity cycle records and gives you feedback on the actual work you've been doing. So let me paste in an extensive system prompt here that sets the context for the AI and helps it understand what is required of it. So we have here a very long system prompt, and this is going to help the AI answer your questions. It's tuned now to be an expert productivity coach. Really important is that here with this $, the curly brackets, and then sys : context, we give the agent context everything in the node that it is run on. And you're going to see how that works in just a second. For this agent, we're going to put nothing into the chat greeting, and we'll also keep the initial prompt empty for now. With this minimal setup for our agent done, let's quickly create a command so that we can use it on our cycle review session Supertag. So I'm going to collapse this here, chat with cycle coach convert to command node. And here we look for start AI chat now in the configuration. We'll add the agent parameter, paste a reference here to the cycle coach, and we're done. And now we're going to put this command, chat with cycle coach, here into the compact menu. And boom, we have our familiar button here. And let me focus into this so that we have it all open. This is now the context that we're going to send to our agent. As I said, we have collected here all the microcycles from the last day to more or less productive ones. Now, if I click this button here, Tana is going to give all of this here to the AI, and I can talk about all of this with the agent. So let me click this, and that's going to open up this chat window here. And let's ask, what can I do better in my work? Anything I haven't thought of that I should improve? And now I get like really insightful feedback, right? About energy management. My energy and elan levels dropped significantly during the second microcycle. That's exactly correct. This is what I told you about, right? Like here and in the sixth cycle, preemptive rest, distraction management, I've identified potential distractions as well, but I could consider creating a more robust strategy for managing them. Boom, right? Isn't that magical? Like you get live feedback on your actual work inside the space you're working, right? You have no need to do copy paste, use a different prompt and whatever, like keep a prompt library somewhere, just put it into an agent and call it when you need for whatever purpose that you might need it, right? You can build these agents for anything, of course. And as I said earlier, they will only get more powerful with time. For example, in my template, TANARIAN Brain, link down below, I have an agent that acts like a polymath librarian who can help you learn about any topic you can come up with. One agent who acts like a project management coach, one like a research scientist. The use cases really are endless. And TANARIAN Brain is now updated to version 2. Version 1 has made over 800 people very happy over the last 2 years that it was around, and I expect version 2 to be the same. So check it out at the link below the video. What's also great about calling AI agents from a command is that it can put different initial prompts into each command so that I don't have to repeatedly type the same questions. So if I put, for example, let me zoom out here. If I put the field initial prompt here and say, what obvious mistakes am I making in terms of getting to focus that I'm not seeing? And then I run this command. Let me remove this here. And then I run this command. It's going to answer immediately. So every time I click this button, that prompt is going to run. But of course, I can create multiple commands with multiple different initial prompts, and therefore start conversations on specific things that I want to investigate. As you can see, Tana is insanely powerful. And even though AI agents are just getting started, you can build powerful workflows around them that make your life easier and help you become more productive. Hope you enjoyed this video. More are on the way. Bye-bye.